Hello friends, in previous classes we studied about de Broglie's wavelength and Davison-Garmer hypothesis experimental proof. Well, those were true for a single wavelength and single frequency, so called as monochromatic wave. Now, in today's class, we'll study what will happen if this waveform or wave is composed of infinite number of waves. So, let's begin. For a particle moving with a constant velocity. Now, do you understand what do you mean to say with a constant velocity? Well, a velocity which is not changing with respect to time. De Broglie was able to suggest a monochromatic wave duality. Well, to understand the sentence in a simple way, you know that lambda is equals to h upon mv. Well, if mass is constant, v is constant, of course, you are going to get a constant value of lambda. But what happens if this v is changing? Well, if the value of this v is changing, you will be getting lambda, which are multiples of h upon m. So, when this was the case, de Broglie was not able to clearly mention this. Schrodinger comes into picture. Now, if a particle is having unpredictable or variable velocity, how will de Broglie wavelength be helpful in this? Well, for that, we'll be studying Schrodinger's hypothesis or Schrodinger's wave equation. Well, to begin with Schrodinger's wave equation, we first need to understand what is a wave packet and what is the wave and group velocity. Now, well, if there is a single wave, as in the case of hypothesis of de Broglie, it was very simple to compute your m as well as v. The reverse was true as well. Now, if the particle has now in this case variable or unpredictable velocity, it will be difficult. Now, here we have another wave as well, another wave, and yet another wave. Here, the wave is not composed of a single wavelength, but there you can see this is wave number 1, wave number 2, 3, 4, 5. This is composed of 5 waves. Now, if these 5 waves will be added together, we will be getting a wave pattern which is similar to this. Well, this is a resultant of all the 5 waves added together, which is called as the wave packet. Now, the name was suggested by Schrodinger wave packet because this wave contains wavelengths of all the composition waves. Basically, here let's say suppose the wavelength is lambda, here it is lambda 2, lambda 3, lambda 4, lambda 5, so on and so forth. All this having constructive interference will be produced in this wave packet. Now, we can simulate this with help of MATLAB, which I have already done, and here is how the result appears. Now, here you can see we have 2 waves, the red color wave and the blue color wave. Both the waves have different velocities, different frequencies slightly, and now when they are superimposed, you get a pattern which is something like this. It appears. Now, this you can see is the cosine wave pattern. This is of course the cosine wave pattern with different angular frequencies. Here it is omega naught, and here you have omega 1. When the two velocities are when the two waves are superimposed, you get a pattern which is similar to this. Here you can see the green dot represents the phase velocity, whereas the magenta dot represents the group velocity. Now the question arises, what is group velocity and what is phase velocity? Well, as you can see, there are 5 different waves which composes this given wave packet. The velocity by which the wave packet moves is called as the group velocity. Since it is composition of a group, it is called as a group velocity. Similarly, the velocity by which all the different waves propagate is called as the phase velocity. Do remember, group velocity and phase velocity are 2 different concepts. Group velocity is only applicable for this wave packet. Again, wave packet is an imaginary concept which we have devised, and hence group velocity is an imaginary concept as well. But phase velocity is a wave dependent term. Every wave will be having a different phase velocity. When added together, these phase velocities constitute a wave packet, and the packet's velocity is called as the group velocity. Now, a question could arise for your Viva exams. The examiner could ask you to differentiate between group velocity and phase velocity. Do remember that group velocity is the velocity of the wave packet and phase velocity is the velocity of the individual waves. Let's move to the next one. Let's compute the group velocity. Since we have made the waves, we already know the wave velocity or the phase velocities. Now we want to compute the group velocity, or you can say the velocity of the wave packet. Now, of course, to compute group velocity, we need to make a wave packet of minimum 2 waves. So in this example or in this derivation, we'll be considering 2 waves. Let's assume a group of waves constituting 2 components of equal amplitude and slightly different angular velocities. Well, is it necessary to take equal amplitudes? No, this is not necessary. However, if you take equal amplitudes, your derivation will be quite simpler. As you can see in the previous example or the previous slide, having equal amplitudes here and equal amplitudes here, my wave pattern was quite reasonable and quite distinguishable. However, if I take different amplitudes on this red and the blue wave, my wave pattern would appear somewhat distorted and it would not be able to, and you will not be able to recognize it. Let's consider first wave. Y1 is equals to a sine omega 1 t minus k1 x. This is a simple progressive wave equation. This is a simple progressive wave equation. You have already studied this in your class 12. Another wave having y2 is equal to a sine omega 2 t minus ka k2x. This is again progressive wave equation. This is wave number 1 and this is wave number 2. When these two waves interfere one on another, you get a wave pattern which is addition of y1 and y2, which appears here. Taking a common, this is what the equation you get. Now, here there's a trigonometric equation which adds two sinusoidal angles. It is sine of omega 1 t minus k1x plus sine of omega 2 t minus k2x. We know the formula. Sine c plus sine d is equal to 2 sine c plus d by 2 into cos of c minus d by 2. Now, do remember in some cases you might also find cos of d minus c by 2. Now, don't get confused because cos of minus theta is same as cos theta. So it doesn't make any difference. Now, applying the same formula, we get y is equals to a sine. I have added the two angles divided by 2 into cos of, I have subtracted them, divided by 2. Now, simplifying this, I'll be taking omega 1t and omega 2t on one side and k1x and k2x on the other side in both of the equations. So I'll be getting an equation which appears like a sine omega 1t plus omega 2t divided by 2 minus k1x plus k2x divided by 2. This is the sinusoidal equation and this is the cosine equation. Now, just to make the equation more easy, what we'll do is we'll assume some constants. So let's omega be equal to omega 1 plus omega 2 by 2. Make the equation easy, we'll take omega 1 plus omega 2 divided by 2 as omega. Similarly, k1 plus k2 by 2 as k, and omega 1 minus omega 2 by 2 as delta omega, and k1 minus k2 divided by 2 as delta k. These are certain substitutions that we will be doing in this equation to get a simplified version. By doing these substitutions, we'll be getting an equation something like this. Now, here you notice you have a sinusoidal part and a cosine part. Now, this represents the resultant wave which is having following two parts. Now, as you can see, the two parts are sinusoidal part and cosine part. Here, Vp is equal to omega by k, which is the phase velocity. Do remember, this is the phase velocity, and this is obtained by the sinusoidal part. And this is the group velocity, which is d omega upon dk, which is the group velocity, and this is obtained by the cosine part. So basically now this wave is composed of two parts, sine part and cosine part. Sine part always represents the phase and cosine part always represents the group. So another important question for Viva, an examiner could ask you a question stating an equation of a wave and thereby asking you to compute what is the phase velocity and what is the group velocity. Do remember the sinusoidal part represents the phase velocity and cosine part represents the group velocity. Now, since you know the formulas for Vp and Vg, which are abbreviated as phase velocity and group velocity, now we will be moving ahead to compute a relation between Vp and Vg. Make a note, this is an important question for your theory paper. It could be asked in your near exams. Now, we will be computing a relation between phase velocity and group velocity. In the previous slide, we have already computed group velocity. Now, from the previous slide, we know that group velocity is nothing but as d omega by dk, and omega is equals to k times Vp. From the formula, Vp is equals to omega by k. We'll be just substituting this value here and we'll be getting Vg as derivative of kvp upon dk. Now by using UV rule or the chain rule, we'll be getting Vg is equals to Vp into derivative of dk with respect to dk plus k times dvp upon dk. dk or dk is nothing but as 1, so we'll be getting Vp plus k into dvp by dk. Now, so far so good. Well, this is a form of equation which you need to remember. There could be question which could be asked having this form. Also, to simplify it further, we can do a substitution where we know that k is equal to 2 pi by lambda. Now, another important question, what is 2 pi by lambda? Well, do remember 1 upon lambda is sometimes referred as wave number. It is called as wave number. However, certain authors do claim that 2 pi upon lambda itself is the wave number and not 1 upon lambda. So, wherever you are referring to other reference books of other authors, do remember it is 2 pi by lambda which is sometimes called as wave number, and some authors claim that 1 upon lambda is wave number. So, this might be a question for conflict. Now, taking the first derivative of this, we know that dk by d lambda is minus 2 pi by lambda square. We have just took the derivative of this k with respect to lambda. Taking 2 pi constant, of course, now the derivative of 1 upon lambda is minus 1 upon lambda square. Rearranging to get the value of dk, we get dk is equal to minus 2 pi by lambda square into d lambda. Now, we will be substituting this value over here to get an equation. Vg is equal to Vp plus, instead of k, I have written 2 pi by lambda dVp, and instead of this dk, I have written minus 2 pi by lambda square into d lambda. 2 pi gets cancelled off, and of course 1 lambda gets cancelled with another lambda. Finally, I'll be getting a value Vg is equal to Vp minus lambda times dVp by d lambda. Well, this is also one form of the equation wherein you represent group velocity and phase velocity with respect to lambda. Do remember, both these relations are true and both these relations are very important for your numericals perspective. Now, group velocity will be same as phase velocity. Now, a question could arise, so what could be your group velocity equal to phase velocity? Looking at the equation, you can clearly say that my group velocity will be equal to phase velocity provided my lambda is 0. Well, can lambda be equal to 0? Well, no. This can never be the case, because if your lambda is 0, it means your wave is not existing. So, this could not be the case. So, what could be the case? It could be the case wherein dVp is equal to 0. Now, what is dVp? dVp is the change in the phase velocity. Now, what is change in the phase velocity? Let's say, suppose a wave packet is composed of two waves, wave 1 and wave 2. If there is no difference between the two velocities of wave 1 and wave 2, you will be getting dVp as 0, and finally your Vg will be equal to Vp. Well, this is the case wherein you get a pure constructive interference. This is wave 1, this is wave 2, and combining these waves, I'll be getting a wave which is similar to this. This is the case wherein your Vg equals to Vp. Now, so coming to the point, group velocity will be same as the phase velocity if the entire constituent wave travels with the same velocity. The components of the wave packet move with the same velocity. As in the previous example, you saw 5 waves constituted a single wave packet. If the 5 waves travel with the same velocity, then yes, you can say that the velocity of the wave packet will be equal to the velocity of individual waves. Well, if such happens, this medium is called as non-dispersive. Now, how come the credit goes to the medium? Well, for any wave to propagate, a medium is required. We have already known this in the previous classes. Now, if my medium is allowing all the waves to travel at same velocity, then only my medium will be called as non-dispersive medium, or my medium does not disperse the wave, or it does not scatters my wave away. Well, this example is very similar to this. Let's say suppose there are 3 racing cars, car 1, car 2 and car 3 on a racetrack. Now, if they are moving with the same velocity, let's say suppose V, V and V, and we want to find out the group velocity of the 3 cars. It would be nothing but as average of the 3, which is 3V by 3 equals to V. So here, this is the group velocity and these are the phase velocity. Group velocity is equal to the phase velocity only when the 3 cars are moving with the same velocity. Now, let's say suppose this car 3 has a rough road ahead. It has a rough road ahead. It would of course affect the value of V, which now will affect the value of the average as well. So here, this is the case where your group velocity is not equal to the phase velocity provided the road for car 3 is rough. And hence, this will be called as a dispersive medium because the medium is responsible for disrupting the car 3. Similarly, if there are n number of waves composed of wave pattern, the medium is responsible for disruption and non-disruption. So this is a very important concept, that the dispersion depends on the medium. Again, this could be an important question for your viva. Examiner could ask you for 3 waves. If the 3 waves are traveling with the same medium and have same parameters, then you can say that your group velocity will be equal to the phase velocity. Where, however, if one of the wave is affected by the medium, or if one of the parameter of the wave is changed, the medium will be called as non-dispersive and hence your wave will not be having the same velocity as that of the group. Now, coming to the second point, the waves of different wavelengths travel in the medium with different velocities. Therefore, the group velocity is in general less than the phase velocity. Well, this is the case in general medium. As you know, all the waves do not travel with the same velocity. The refractive index for different colors of the wave or different wavelengths of the wave is different, and hence you can say that the composition waves travel with different velocities, and therefore in general it is observed that group velocity is less than the phase velocity. Now a question could come, can group velocity be more than that of the phase velocity? Well, yes, there are certain cases in which your group velocity is more, as we saw in the non-dispersive mediums example, and in general it always exists that your group velocity is less than that of the phase velocity. So this is an important concept between group velocity and phase velocity. Thank you so much for watching this video. For more content, stay tuned with Ikeda and subscribe to Ikeda.